Welcome back to another episode of Sit, Sip, and Talk Shit. I'm so excited. Oh my god. I'm going to sit here and just stare at the camera the whole time and be like, I'm so excited. I can't even talk. That's how excited I am. Guys, okay, so first of all, let's just start by being honest here. This is a re-record. We recorded last week.
Third time's a charm?
Third time's a charm. And we were, I really don't really know what happened. Well, I do know what happened, but, you know, for sake of my boss listens to this, I won't say what happened. And, you know, we just went off topic, and we were a little unhinged and chaotic, a little more than normal. Actually, that's probably untrue. We're just going to rein it in this time around. But, so we're re-recording, but she showed up to my house. I'm gonna have to post that video because that's actually hysterical. She showed up to my house, but when she showed up to do the podcast, I was on the phone with Tyler, and I'm sorry we didn't record. We suck. I'll drive to Savannah and do it with her. But I was on the phone with Tyler, and I'm like ranting about this stuff that happened, and I'm like telling her about it, and I'm pacing back and forth, and Kacey walked in with this sweatshirt on, and I didn't notice, and then finally I sit down, and I get off the phone, I'm looking at Kacey, and I'm like, literally looking at her like this. And she's talking to me, and I'm now telling Kacey, catching her up on the stuff she missed. And mid-rant, I'm like, oh my God! Like, you have to see these. And since I zoomed in, I know you can. It's my face. It's my face with MGK on a sweatshirt. I'm never taking it off.
And for those of you who are maybe not watching this,
oh, that sucks.
Hi for the second time. I am back. We are doing this again.
Yes.
The first half of our first recording was gold, and then we just really went off the rails. We took a pee break, and then it got real weird, and I was like, Kristen,
no pee breaks.
We didn't ask any questions. You didn't ask me any questions. I asked you every question. This is your podcast. We can't post this. No one wants to listen to this. We sound unhinged for an hour and 45 minutes, and we need to reel it in and really talk about what we came here to talk about, which is friendship. But for those
of you... One day the bloopers will...
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll release it as a bonus episode, and you guys can laugh at it. But for those of you who are not watching this, we recently got bamboozled into going downtown with Kristen and
bamboozled
and to go see MGK perform at the rooftop at Whiskey Jam.
My greatest deception.
And there is a picture that Whiskey Jam took of the crowd, and MGK's in like the top right corner. There's a security guard next to him, and then there's little Kristen right in the corner, and her mouth is just gaping open wide, like I cannot believe I can touch MGK right now. And it's the greatest picture that I've maybe ever seen in my life, especially if you know Kristen and her love for MGK. So naturally, I got it printed on sweatshirts for us, which we are selling. So if you want one, let us know. And yeah, I'm gonna live in this sweatshirt. She's gonna live in this sweatshirt because it's gold. It's a gold sweatshirt. It's good as gold.
It is good as gold. Shout out Sheena.
Sheena Shea.
Sheena Shea. I love that she never went back to her maiden name.
I know. Quite funny for how much shit she talks about him. But that's all good. Anyway, not what we're here to talk about today.
Yes.
We are going to reel it in this time. Kristen, again, doesn't have questions prepared for me, but
I'm really good. I'm better at winging it, but I do have some prepared.
Okay, good.
So I came mildly prepared. But, like, the only reason I'm unprepared is because, you know what? This is perfect. This is a great story for friendship.
Okay.
Both of these, really. We're really starting hard because, first of all, yes, we're here to talk about friendship and, like, what that means. Because if you know Kacey and I separately, you know how different we truly are. But I was thinking about so Tyler, my best friend Tyler, was here this weekend. And I was thinking about her, and I was like, you know what? Same. Like, her and I also, like, we share the same core values, but, like, we're different people. And I am the rainbow in her rain cloud.
Yeah. I think
and that's kind of the same with you.
I think you're the rainbow in most of our rain clouds.
But it's funny because most of my friends are rain clouds.
Yeah.
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 Like, they're black cat energy.
But we're like
And
we're like fake rain clouds because we
Yes.
are rain clouds, but we need that rainbow, right? Because most people who have true rain clouds all the time don't want the rainbow, so you're not gonna be friends with those people. We like need it, but we just 8 to 9 months of the year we live in the rain clouds, and you are our rainbow that we
I'm
happily accept.
It's like black cat energy, and I'm like the orange cat with the leopard print.
You're like 9, you're shot over there. Just so
Oh,
you know.
sorry.
There you are.
Sorry, y'all. I was just out here chilling in the sides, you know? Just
Hiding.
hiding.
Well, the
Because I'm just so happy about my sweatshirt.
and the middle cushion is off limits.
We
too,
can't,
Lola
okay.
peed on it.
Bruh, my dog hates me. This middle cushion right in this vicinity.
She's walking away like I know you're talking.
Yeah, walk away, bitch. I'm just kidding.
Oh
I
my
love you.
God.
I love you. Just kidding. But no, I went. So, well, actually, this goes right into that story about like friendship. So obviously, step 1, friendship. She saw this photo, knows how much I love MGK, and reached out to Charlie, who you will meet on the podcast later this season. And he started a clothing line, understated clothing, and he made these sweatshirts. She had these sweatshirts made to wear today. I just love it so much. But that this morning, so she called me Monday, and we work, obviously, if you listen to round 1 of us from last year, literally a year ago, you know that we both work at Buckle, and she called me on Monday, and she's going to a career fair, and she needed stuff for it, and I was like, oh yeah, I got you, I'll just bring it home since I'll see you Wednesday. Monday night, I forgot. And I was like, no big deal, I get off at 5 on Tuesday, I'll just bring it home with me after work Tuesday. Well, I forgot twice. And last night, I was driving home, and I was sitting in my car, and I'm like, fuck. Like, I could just text her and be like, you know what? I'm so sorry. I suck. I just forgot. Like, I just forgot, and like, because I don't live close. It's like a solid 35-minute drive. And I was like, almost, like, I could just text Kacey and be like, I just forgot, I suck. You're going to have to use that crappy banner that isn't as nice as the one that I have. And I know you don't have any of the other things that would be really nice to have and make your station nicer, but, like, you can wing it, you're good. Like, people want to just work with you. Like, who needs a pen?
What a nice spin on that.
Yeah. Thanks.
You are enough. You don't need pens.
You don't need pens and pop sockets. But I didn't do that. I got up early this morning on my day off and drove, well, actually it was 45 minutes because I forgot about traffic in the morning. But I drove to work and picked the stuff up and then drove back here. So I got here like 10 minutes before Kacey did.
Thank you.
Yes. So I was like, you know, I said I'd do it. It's not out of my way. It's really not out of my way to be a good friend, which is kind of the point. And while I was gone picking up this stuff, I guess Lola got pissed at me for leaving, I suppose, and she peed on the middle couch cushion, which I guess she claims is her own. Like, this middle couch cushion is Lola's cushion. This is where she sleeps at night.
Definitely.
But, like, bitch.
Now she's sitting on top of me.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, you can see it in the frame. But I was, like, super annoyed because I came home and I'm, like, on the phone with Tyler ranting about situations. And I look over and I'm like, actually, it's only because I knew I had to wash my blankets today because Lola plays with all my blankets. So, like, I wash them at least once a week so they don't smell like dog. And I picked up the blankets off the couch and was like, what's that smell? And almost lost my shit. So Kacey walked into me cleaning my couch and I was like, I was supposed to record this podcast and my dog pissed on the couch.
And that's why it also took you literally 15 minutes of me being here and
Yes!
talking to you to realize that I was even
She,
wearing this sweatshirt.
it's so funny. Yeah, I sat down in
We'll
front
post
of
the
her.
video. It's quite
And
funny.
I was like,
Wow.
I'm like ranting, and I'm like mid-rant, I'm like, oh my God, is that my face?
Yes, on my chest. Welcome. And then I pulled one out of my bag and I had one made for her too. So now we're matching. I just feel like this picture deserves to go viral, so we should try and make that happen.
And we should.
Yeah.
We really should. I'm going to make a whole TikTok video in this sweatshirt today.
Please do it.
You know, an update, a follow-up to the first TikTok video.
Please do
Oh,
it.
you're not on TikTok.
I'm not on anything.
So you've missed my hysterical TikTok MGK video.
I'm sure it was quite funny. I'm sure I get the gist of it.
Yeah.
I am a no social media kind of gal. I don't have time. I can't be bothered. Mental health.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't really want people knowing the way I move. I like to move
In silence.
in silence. Yeah. I think we both do that. But
Yeah.
and then we make it known when we need to make it known. So I think I just made a conscious decision when I moved back here to Nashville to just move and nobody knows where I am or what I'm doing, and that's super nice. A lot of stress.
That is true.
out of
My
life.
big moves, I move in silence. Like, you'll
Yeah.
know what I ate for lunch. You'll know that I was
Yeah.
recording this podcast.
Yeah.
But, like, you won't know the big stuff that I'm working on because those are secret until they can be released.
Amen.
Which leads me right into sit, sip, and talk shit, since that's our big thing. So welcome back.
Thank you.
What are you sipping on today?
That's a medicine ball from Starbucks, but I don't know what the defect is with this. Every time I get this, it leaks out of the side, and that is double cupped.
Weird.
And this happened yesterday because I got one yesterday and it did the same thing. So that's why that paper towel is there, because I have to hold the paper towel under my mouth while I do that so it doesn't drip all over me. I don't know. Starbucks, get your shit together. Why does that do that? I don't know. I genuinely have
My
no
cups
idea.
don't do that when I get a medicine ball. I
Maybe
swear to
it's
God.
just me then. Love that for me.
But I don't get the big cup.
I
get
got
the
a
little
grande
cup.
yesterday and it's still the same thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but I'm drinking a medicine ball because, I'm sick. What
Back
else
to
is
that
new?
friendship thing.
Yeah. What else is new? Lola's sitting on top of me. Thank you, Lola. Lola also welcomes you to the podcast.
She does.
But yeah, what are you drinking? An Alani.
An Alani because I need the
in a
energy.
pink disco ball.
In a pink disco ball cup. I got this at Target for $3.
I'm
It was
sure
in the
you
dollar
did.
buys at Target. I live across the street from a Target, so it's really dangerous because I know as soon as Kacey leaves to go to work today, I'm gonna go to the Target because I have this vision in my head of like
Spending $300?
definitely, always, every day, honestly. But like in that corner over there that you guys can't see and I won't show you, but in that corner, I like my just vision of a podcast corner.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find a beanbag chair. I'm going to. And if I can't find a beanbag chair, I'm going to find two of the comfiest, most affordable chairs you can find.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them in that corner, and that's where we'll be next time we record. But I found this in the dollar buys, and it's a pink disco ball with a princess crown. What is this called? Top?
Crown cup? What? Yeah, I don't know. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's very you.
It is very me.
It's very you.
I love it so much. But yes, so welcome. She's sipping tea because she is sick. I am sipping on an Alani because I'm obsessed. And we're going to talk today about friendship, what that means to us, how we became friends. Shout out to this podcast because that's how we became friends.
True.
And everything in between from the last year. But here's the big question, though, from the last year, from you being on last. How was the Jonas Brothers concert?
Oh my God, did we talk right before then?
We talked right before you went, and we talked about how we would have you come on a couple weeks later to talk about it, but we never got around to it.
Was this the New York one? No, that was in March.
It was October 8th, I think.
we went and saw them twice. Oh my God, it was amazing. My best friend came down from New York. She always comes down when they're in town. And we do a pedal tavern, as always, because they're just fun. And we went and we were like 3 or 4 rows from the stage, but nobody was telling us we couldn't stand on the barricade. So I went to the bathroom and came back and we literally just chilled on the barricade. And I was like, literally 5 feet from the Jonas Brothers. And it was incredible and probably one of the best shows ever. And it's also just like a different experience as adults at Jonas Brothers concerts because like we can get drunk now and like that's pretty fun because we can act a fool and it's just
act crazy.
Yeah, it's just hysterical, right? So we were in our little cute she made Jonas Brothers shirts and it was amazing. So thank you for asking, but amazing as always. I don't think I've ever been to a Jonas Brothers show and it hasn't been amazing.
So I actually, okay, so I did lie a little bit. I did a little preparation for this podcast. Yes. I went back and listened to.
You know, I really meant to do that and I didn't. So I'm glad that you did.
Because I was curious. I was like, what did we talk about? Here's my favorite thing. You remember how when we re-recorded last week, the one we are not releasing, and we were talking about how our friendship has come so far?
Yeah.
And like, I wonder what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Bruh, you could tell the difference.
We were very surface level, weren't we?
Yes, but like we talked about deep things.
Yeah.
But not in the way we do now. Like, you can tell, like, you held back a little, I held back on, like, kind of questioning it, like, the normal deepness that I would be like, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah, we
like,
probably just moved on.
Yes, we just moved on. Like, I let you share it, and I'd be like, I probably had questions, and was like,
I'm not going to ask
don't ask, you don't know her.
So funny.
Because that was literally the first day I really met you.
Yeah, it was the first time we had hung out alone together. That was not at work or a group thing. Yeah, it was the first time I'd come to your house. First time we'd really like spend time alone together. We had talked for a little bit before that. Like just that day that I got here, we ranted for like 2 hours before we even did the podcast. The 2-hour podcast, which is crazy.
And then did a 2-hour podcast.
And then did a 2-hour podcast.
We should have known that we would be best friends.
We should have. Yeah, that really was the turn of things. But that's so funny. I'll go back and I'll listen to it.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's actually hysterical. Because I'm like listening to it and I'm like, okay, oh, we did talk about the Jonas Brothers concert. Oh, yeah. We never did that.
And Taylor Swift we talked about.
We did.
And work. I feel like we also talked about work a little bit as well.
About work. We talked about your dating life, but she made me cut it.
Yeah, which
I'm glad I did.
We can get into it today.
At
the time you needed to, because at the time, the dating life, I don't think the people involved would have appreciated it.
No, yeah, I don't think.
Now I'm happy to get into it. We can absolutely, we'll get into it today.
I love it. I think it's incredible. But like, the premise of this is obviously friendship, but I think it just goes to show that like our friendship over this last year, it started like, okay, we were work friends. Mm-hmm. We were work colleagues. We worked at the same place.
Colleagues.
We were colleagues.
I think that word colleagues. Co-workers. Acquaintances.
And we followed each other on social media because that's how this happened. She saw I was doing a podcast. She's like, you have your degree in media something or other.
Audio production.
Yes, thank you. It's like I knew it was like media.
Yeah, I'm a music kid.
And she's like, oh, that's cool. I want to come on. And I was like, oh, that would be fun. Like, I like her. She seems cool every time I see her. Yeah.
You like me?
Yeah, I was like, she seems cool. Like, yeah, I'll come on the podcast. But I didn't really know what we were going to talk about. I didn't really know.
We didn't know each other. Yeah, we were strangers.
So I was like, yeah, come on over to my apartment, even though I've never really hung out with you outside.
Well, you know I wasn't crazy, so it's fine.
And so I let her, come into my house. Just kidding. It wasn't that bad, I guess.
Wasn't that bad? Wow.
No, we had a blast.
That was the start of something so beautiful.
It really was. That's what's so crazy is it really was. Like this just she randomly messaged. She slid in the DMs.
I did.
She slid in the DMs and was like, I want to come on your podcast. That sounds so cool. And I was like,
yes.
You know what? I don't really know who my guests are going to be, so I'm down. And I don't really know you, so you're kind of different. Let's do it. Like this could be a get to know Kacey podcast. And then I got to know Kacey for 2 hours prior to filming for 2 hours.
And now you've gotten to know me over the last year.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Almost to the
maybe we might be over the day now because we recorded like 2 days prior.
Yeah.
So, but like this is our year anniversary episode.
It's our friend anniversary.
It's our friend anniversary episode.
That's so cute.
Okay, so first question: what have you learned in this last year of being friends with me?
Loaded question. No, I'm kidding. It's not loaded at all. I know my answer is so clear. What have I learned from you?
Yep.
About our friendship or from our friendship or both? I guess it can be both.
Let's do both.
And we did talk about this a little bit last time too. Will was about to start licking my ear. Sorry.
Thank God we talked about it last time. We won't cry this time.
Yeah, that's true. We did cry last time. Actually, this is a good idea. We're doing this again because I'll probably cry again. That's fine. We're kind of in that time. I think biggest thing I've learned from you and I actually don't think I said this last time, but probably, like, I'll add to it. Your resilience, one.
Oh, thank you.
I think your ability to continue to be a rainbow even when shit is hitting the fan. Because it's like the first thing I like go out, like I put that out the door. Like when shit hits the fan, I'm like, life sucks, this is miserable, everything's bad, it's never gonna get better, screw everyone and everything. I'm gonna isolate and nobody talk to me until this is better. So I think a lot of shit happened this year.
Yeah, she did try to isolate at one point. I was like, hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. I definitely had a rough year because this was a pretty low year for me.
Yeah.
And you went through some pretty bad personal shit too. So I think it would have been easy for us to retreat to our corners, but instead I think we came closer together, which was super nice. So I'd say your resilience to just life in general, and you continuing to be a rainbow and a light for people, definitely. It's inspiring. And then two, I think, which is what we talked about last time, is just your, like, I think you've made me a more understanding person. Like, you approach everything with this curiosity and this deep desire to understand before you respond or, kind of try and solve a problem. There's always a level of understanding, which I think takes a lot of patience, too, which is things that I don't have.
Too much empathy over here.
Yeah, a lot of empathy. You're probably the most empathetic person I know. But I feel like I always knew that about you. I think even being surface level friends with you, I knew that, like, I was like, oh yeah, she cares. You care.
I care.
You care outwardly and all the time. It's never like, it's unconditional and you do it to everybody. It's just some people deserve it in your life and some people don't. So I'm glad that I am one of those that deserves it.
What's funny is, like, I don't give a fuck, but I care.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I'll be like, Mom, I just don't give a shit anymore. And she's like, stop, you do care. And I'm like, no, I care. I'm like, but I'm over it. And she's like, I know. And
I'm like, don't have a single fuck to give you, but I care.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's a tough spot for you to live in sometimes. But yeah, I think your resilience and then your just, like, inquisitive nature to always understand why someone is the way they are or why they act the way they do or why they react the way they do.
I find it fascinating.
Yeah, and I think it just helps you connect with people deeper. Because you're the best connector I know, which is why you're very good at your job. So yeah, I think resilience, your inquisitive nature, and being connected to people. I think that you're great at all of those things.
You reminded me. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh gosh.
HSP, I think it's called. Highly sensitive person. Okay, so.
Oh yeah.
Me and Evan yesterday were talking about, like, something. I think Elizabeth's parents came in the store or something, and they said something to Evan about, like, oh, we've heard a lot about you. And I laughed, and Evan was like, do you ever talk about me to your parents? And I was like, yes. And he was like, I wonder what they think of me. And I was like, well, my mom would probably think that, like, us being friends is weird because Evan is such a, like, chill individual.
Correct.
Like, he's so laid back that I'm like that normally bugs me about people. Like, that level of chill bugs me because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, or I always think something is bothering them because they're so chill. Like, they're never just, like, hyped up. And it's like, when I'm excited, you know I'm excited.
You're ready to go.
When I'm sad, you know I'm sad.
Yeah.
And when I'm quiet, you know to run in the opposite direction and very fast. So, like, because he's just so chill, I assume something is wrong.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. He goes, someone sent me this article the other day, and it was called HSP or something. And I told him how my mom thinks everyone's on the spectrum.
Oh.
And kind of agree with her. But, like, there is a level that I know she thinks I'm on the spectrum because of how, like, empathetic I am and how much I'm, like, Evan, I don't understand. And I can't wrap my head around that type of emotion or emotionless.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so you're, like, essentially drawn to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I find him fascinating. So I ask a lot of questions like, well, why?
Yeah.
Like,
you do that. That's how we became friends. Everything was a why.
And
so why do you feel like that? Why does that happen? How does that make you feel?
He's, like, describing HSP, and it's like, these people are not, it's like, socially, you have you don't have a problem socially. Yours is like sensory. Like you get very overstimulated. And I was like, me. Sounds, too many sounds overstimulate me. Too many, like,
which is so funny
touching,
with the job that we have.
Overstimulates me. And if I get overstimulated, I'm like, please leave me alone and don't talk to me. Because once you start talking to me, I'm like, no.
I gotta go.
I have to exit. I can't focus on what you're saying. There's so many sounds. And I do a pretty good job because at work we constantly have the music going. Everyone's always having a conversation. Something's always happening. But
Your
like
name's being called.
Yeah, constantly. But it's funny because there are people who do this job and they get their name called all day and they don't think anything of it. On like the fourth, Kristen, I'm like,
I'm gonna lose it.
Stop calling my name. I hate my name. It's changed. My name is now something crazy. I don't know. Bradley.
I love that for you.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I get overstimulated.
Just stop responding to your own name. That's actually really smart.
If you look it up, highly sensitive HSP people are like on the spectrum, just not like socially. They're just very inquisitive people. They're creative people. They're I want to take an IQ test because he swears to God that like highly intelligent people. And I'm not saying I'm not smart. I'm a smart person.
You should take an IQ test. That'd be fun.
But like the way they describe it,
do it on the podcast.
It's like super intelligent. And I'm like, that reminds me of Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. If you've ever watched that show, and I'm like, that's not me. I'm not that level of intelligent. I will never. I won't even aspire to be that level.
Well, he doesn't have the social aspect, right? Like that's what he struggles with. So I don't think you struggle with that.
I think everyone should Google HSP.
HSP, I definitely think you have. Yeah, that's you through and through. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, for sure.
Because like I constantly like want to be like, if I don't understand the emotion you're having or why you think the way you think.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not moving on until I figure this out.
Until you can explain to me.
Yeah, you'll halt a conversation and be like, hold on, I need to understand.
I can't move on.
Yeah, you're like, we have to talk about this.
Why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
How did you get from point A to point B? Sometimes and that's when when we first started becoming friends, that's when I would realize, like, because most people don't stop me. They just change the subject or they distract me enough to be like, for me to be like, I forgot what I was even inquiring about. Mm-hmm. But like, you would stop and be like,
no one's ever asked me that.
I don't know.
Or I'm not sure. Or we'd get into it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, I've done enough therapy to be able to like reflect on why I do the things that I do or why I am the way I am, right? Like I can dig a little deeper. Like how many times over the last year have me and you had a conversation and I will pull okay, let me go into my therapy brain and let me dig a little deeper personally what this is bringing up for me, right? Because I have like my therapist like in the back of my head, like, where does this bring up for you, right? Like, where does this come from? And I think we have like very open, honest conversations about that. But I think you're probably one of the only people in my life that like asks me those questions and doesn't stop because you see that it makes someone like uncomfortable, because it definitely catches me off guard, and I think now I'm used to it. Now it doesn't make me uncomfortable.
I know, you don't even flinch when I ask a question. You're like, oh, well, because, and I'm like, oh, okay.
But in the beginning, it definitely caught me off guard of like, it almost is like a defense of like, why is she asking this?
Yes,
like,
people get really defensive.
Really care? But you do really care.
I do.
So yeah, definitely, I'll put that on the list of things that I've learned about you in the last year. What our friendship. I think also just like
from you though.
I think you're also just like an unconditional kind of friend. Like it's like you talk about like A1s, right? Like day ones. You're like you and I think have like an unconditional friendship. There is no like, oh, one of us is having a bad time, so we pull apart from each other. Like I think when either of us is having a rough time, we retreat to each other. I think that's really big because I am a self-isolator when I am not having a fun time and when I am struggling.
You know what I like about you, though?
Yeah.
Because you say that, but you, at least in the year that we've been friends, I don't know if you've always been like this, but you've always told me, like, you know what? I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad time.
Yeah.
Like, I actually need some space right now. And the first time you did it, I'm going to be so honest. The first time she did it, I was like,
this bitch.
Okay, bitch. I'm talking to you. But then like
I don't even remember.
it took me like maybe 10 minutes total, because I go down my recesses in my brain of like, well, why is she saying that? Why is she doing that? I don't understand, because my reaction to her needing space was like defensive. And then I was like, why? And I can usually rationalize without having to ask the question sometimes.
Yeah.
And I realized like, oh, she's letting me know, like she's not mad at me. Because, okay, how many times in your life have you thought your friend was mad at you when they weren't really mad at you?
All the time.
Yeah. And like my defense came from, well, maybe she's mad at me and that's why she needs space.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, she's just communicating that like whatever's going on right now, she needs a mental like detox.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can just tell your friends that?
Yeah.
Like,
I was
what?
not always like that. I was a people pleaser for a really long time. I think the first thing that I tackled in therapy when I started years ago was boundaries. And I think
You're
everybody
incredible at them.
Yeah, I think
that's what I've learned
thank
from you in the last
Thank
year.
you. I think everybody thinks they know what boundaries are, because I think going into therapy, I thought I knew what boundaries were. Then I like really understood the concept of boundaries, and you know how that can kind of just free up mental space and free up stress in your life. And I'm not like, nobody's foolproof at them. We'll always, teeter on our boundaries sometimes.
Set my boundaries.
I thought you definitely do, yeah. But I think for me, like it's one of those things where I think because I am an overthinker, and because my anxiety does run high, especially when it comes to like interpersonal relationships, like my friends, my family, I really overthink, and then because I want to people please, I will forego everything that is good for me to make sure that someone else is taken care of. And I think for me, therapy with the boundaries and learning what they actually were, I think it just allowed me to open my communication lines a little bit better with my friends and my family, even at work.
Yeah.
And just like, I think you can avoid a lot of the unnecessary drama or feelings or overthinking, right? Because I'm like, if I overthink, I know you probably overthink. I'm attracted to people that overthink. Like, I think all of us are like that. So I think for me, it's just a simple conversation of like, I've hit my limit on like my mental capacity.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to start shutting down. So like, I'm letting you know where I'm at. I'm not good. I will be fine in a little bit.
I am unwell.
I am unwell. I'll be fine in a little bit. If I need something from you, I will let you know. And then, I kind of go back to normal in a little bit. But I think it would be unfair to disappear every time I'm struggling with something. I think that also with you especially, I don't feel like I set my boundaries like that with everybody. With you especially, though, I think early on in our friendship, I realized like that unconditional thing of like, you're not going to take it personally if I set a boundary, and you're also not going to overstep a boundary. Because when you learn what boundaries are and you start putting them in place, everybody will try and walk all over them. Yep. And I feel like we're the only person that I was like outwardly honest with communicating my boundaries or where I was at in something, and you were like, huh. And then you were like, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know. Like, do you need anything? Can I help you? Yeah, like, do you want to come over? Do you want to just run on the couch? Like, yeah, and you showed me, like, someone who you respect boundaries.
Like, you're setting a boundary, but, like, what do you need?
Yes, 1,000%. And sometimes the answer is nothing. I just need space. Sometimes the answer is I need to come sit on your couch and watch Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, let's go get food, right? Or whatever it may be.
People set boundaries and they'll say like, oh, I need mental space, but like,
what does
that mean for you?
What does that look like for you?
Okay, mental space, like I just don't want to talk to you or anyone. Or like mental space, like sometimes when I set a boundary and I need space, yeah, I just don't want to talk about the thing that's bugging me.
Yes, but you still want someone to be around and involved in all of the things. Where I am the opposite. I'm like, I am retreating. Nobody talk to me about anything. I don't exist to you in your world for the next 24 hours because that's what I need.
Or Charlie, he's a really good example of the other day. He like set a boundary and I was like, I paused. Or he didn't even really set a boundary. Just a situation in his life came up that it just hasn't come up since we've been friends.
Yeah. And
I was like, well, this hasn't happened since we've been friends, so, like, what do you need? What do you want me to do? Do you want to talk about it? We could talk about it. do you want to not talk about it? Do you need something? Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
And his, like, back was to me, and he looked over his shoulder at me like I was crazy, and then turned and looked at me and was like, huh. Well, actually, and I was like, oh, okay. And I realized that, like, that's, I guess, not normal.
No, I think that's you as a friend. I think that's, like, a perfect definition of you as a friend, though. I think you are so open to communication around what your friendship needs to look like to make it work for the both of you, right? Like, again, it's like this understanding. What goes back to this understanding, like, what do you need? What do you need from me, right? Do you need nothing from me? Do you need me to physically be around you? Do you need me to show up for you in a different way, right? I think we talked about this last time, but, like, how we show up for each other, especially when we are not doing well, looks very different now than it did, a year ago, 365 days ago. I think it was, oh, check in, or oh, let's vent about something, or oh, let's talk shit, and now it's genuinely like, okay, girl, like, cut the shit. Something's not right. I haven't heard from you like I normally do in a few days. Like,
where you at?
What's like something's wrong, right? Yeah. Like when you start to get that feeling of like, man, I haven't talked to Kristen. You're like, I need to go check in with her, and you're very open and honest about what you need from us. But I think, most people don't receive boundaries very well, and most people don't slow down and say like, I understand that this is something that you might need to set a boundary around, so I'm going to let you set it, and then I'm going to respect it. And you, I think, are very good at that. Even if you're not great at setting your own boundaries.
I can't set my own boundaries, but I can.
You respect the hell out of ours.
There are going to be people who listen to this that are like, no, the fuck she doesn't, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you are one of those people, because I have not always respected boundaries.
Yes.
That has come from years of therapy.
Well, that's also, and also I think the people on the receiving end, right, too, because I am someone who, I am so firm in my boundaries that there are things going on right now that are pushing them.
If you let me trample your boundaries,
I'm going
to trample them.
Yeah, 1,000%, but that's when I have to get a little bit more like, Kristen,
well, see, this is a you problem, because if you let me trample your boundaries.
Yes, it's a me problem. It is.
It's a you problem.
It is.
Obviously.
Your boundaries are not very firm then. And I am firm on the boundaries.
You are firm.
And
that's like something that I've learned from you, is like how to be firmer in my boundaries, because I'm like, well, she's pretty firm in them. But like, that's why I always think sometimes when we've had those conversations, I'm like, well, okay, well, is it a you problem or is it a them problem?
1,000%. I like that you have that mentality, because it's usually a them problem. I think that's what I've learned from you too.
Don't take on someone else's problem.
1,000%, which we both tend to do.
Yes.
But boundaries will help with that. Highly recommend therapy.
Boundaries.
Therapy.
I love therapy.
Therapy. Sponsored by therapy. No, I'm kidding. I'm literally not. But
Kristen is your local therapist.
Yeah, that'd be
You're
amazing.
welcome.
Yeah, this podcast is a little bit of therapy.
This podcast is a little bit of therapy sometimes.
Yeah. So, okay, so you answered. So boundaries.
Boundaries.
I love that.
Boundaries.
Thank you.
Because I don't. Well, I do in certain aspects of my life, but like I set boundaries, but they're not firm. You know what I mean? Like,
you're a little
this is the
boundaries.
But then someone will step on it and like,
it's because you're so flexible with things, that you're so go with the flow, that you're like, yeah, okay, I can make that. You're accommodating. That. Like, okay, I could do that. And I'm like, the fuck, you can't. Yeah. Like, you should not do that. Don't do that. Like, that's not good.
And there are times when I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like, after I did it, I'm like,
I also think me and you have a tendency, right? Like, I think our life experience have gotten there. I don't know if I was always super firm with my boundaries until I had, like, my back thing, right? Yeah. Like, when I went on medical leave for a month, and was, like, essentially couch-ridden and couldn't move for 30-something days. Yeah. Like, it was horrible.
That was rough.
Yeah, and it was, like, definitely a low for me. And I think after that, to protect not only my mental health, because I think boundaries were more of a mental health protection, I think to protect my physical health, because my mental health absolutely manifests physically for me, and I think May showed me that, and I never want to go back to that, because that was so not good, and it was so scary for me. So I think being open and communicating, and I think you're also just someone, maybe what I've learned from you, another thing, let me add, I mean, I could talk about this the whole time I could talk about this.
This is gonna be the whole podcast
yeah.
because we're coming up on 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think I've also just learned that, like, it's okay to feel my feelings with you, right? I think you're a friend that is a safe space to feel my feelings with, and I think we talk about this a lot. You have that effect on a lot of people around you.
I'm a no judgment friend.
Yeah, and I love that about you, because I also think that you've also encouraged me, like, well, why do you feel that way, right? It's encouraging me to feel my feeling about the thing instead of, like, trying to brush over it, and that's absolutely what I need. I think true friends push you in those areas, right? They challenge the things that they know are going to help you feel better, be better, do better, right? And I think we're both very not okay with like consistent like mediocrity. We're not okay with that, and we're always looking to grow, you know, us two together. So I think for us, we take change and growth. I think we take the ebbs and flows of our friendship very face value for what they are, and we know that nothing, if there's a low ebb, we're like, okay, cool, we're in a weird moment. If there's a high ebb, we're like, great,
nice.
cool.
We're on the same,
yeah,
we're walking
like,
the same
yeah,
path.
we're flowing right now, right? It's the ebb and flow of life and friendship.
But I think that's what's important, even about friendship.
Yeah.
Is like, meet someone where they're at.
1000%.
Because you're never gonna grow at the same rate as somebody else. That's not realistic.
No.
That goes for relationships too, but like friendships that span years.
Yeah.
It's because you just pause. Like I sometimes think about Tyler. She is a wife and a mother. She has
Different time
almost 3-year-old.
Totally different.
She has a husband she like looks out for. She has herself. Like,
yeah.
I have nobody but me and my dog.
Yeah.
So like we're in very different stages of growth in our lives, but we meet each other where we're at.
You come together.
Like, even if we live right next door to each other, which I wish we did. One day we'll build a house with a bridge. And even if that was our situation, we lived in a house that had a bridge and I could just walk right over to her house, she would not be the person I called every Saturday night to be like, hey, let's go to the bars and get drunk, because I know she has to get up in the morning and she has a child. Will she come with me maybe once every couple months? Yeah, for sure. She needs it too, but like she wouldn't be the person I called on every Saturday night to like go out.
Yeah.
But she would be my friend every Monday night that I'm like, you want to go get sushi? You want to get tacos? You want to like...
We'll be home by 9.
Yeah, we'll be home by... She's the friend that I'm going to walk in her house and be like...
Let's watch
a TV show. Like, let's do that.
Yeah.
Like,
you meet those friends.
Meet your friends where they're at.
1000% meet your friends where they're at. I think you're very good at that. I agree. I love that.
I love it. It's easy for me because I am so chill.
Yeah, you are.
I'm like very loose.
Until you're not.
Yeah. Oh. I'm a high-strung loose. I don't even know how that works. But like there are certain things in my life that I'm very high-strung about.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that for you.
Taylor Swift is probably one of them.
We're not going to go into this conversation.
We're not going down in my head, I'm like, what am I high-strung about?
We are not going down this rabbit
hole. Taylor Swift.
Nope.
Lola. Those are probably like the top 3 things I get very high-strung about for whatever reason. But like but also that with your friends, just knowing what they like, knowing what they love.
Yeah.
And like, you know.
But like knowing how to show up for your friends, right? Like we talked about this last time, like how do we show up for each other? And I think it looks differently based on what phase of life we're in. But I think like we are also each other's like biggest supporters.
Yes.
Like I'm your biggest champion, especially like when it comes to work success and all of the things, right? I'm very like, yes, you're awesome. Let's celebrate the little things because the little things are the big things. So I think it's just even the way we show up for each other as friends, which probably has changed. Do you feel like that's changed over the last year?
Yeah. Because I think before when we first started showing up for each other and like realizing this was like a friendship, it would be like a text message.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, how'd that thing go? Or, did you have fun?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to call it surface level, but like
It
almost
was.
like you dip like a
It
toe.
was.
You dip a toe.
I don't
in the
know.
ocean.
I feel like I don't know when we got like. Can you like pinpoint a moment or like a time that like. I mean, being back is
I'm really trying to
definitely
think
turned
about
up a
it.
level of our friendship for sure.
Yeah. But like
I've only been back a few
we
months,
started
though.
really getting there before you came back.
Yeah, like I feel like Clarksville was tough. It was really hard for
Yeah.
me just mentally, and
I'm
I
really
feel
trying to
like
think about
you
it.
really helped me through a lot of those like
Might have
darker
been
moments.
like maybe like honestly probably right around the time like you went on medical leave
Yeah.
because I was like, well,
Well, I
you
think
felt a certain level of guilt,
yeah.
and I didn't
Oh my God, it was
understand
so
why.
hard not to work for.
Yeah, like I didn't understand why. I'm like, okay, well you're
Crazy.
broken, literally.
Yeah.
Like
You can't breathe.
not even mentally, like physically, literally, you are
can't
broken.
breathe. I was also still my store was getting a remodel that I didn't get to be a part of.
Yeah, like
I was sending an MT out to manage.
you
like
felt
it
an
was,
enormous amount of guilt, and I was
Yeah.
like, I just don't. And you know me, but why?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, is this a you problem?
Yeah, it absolutely
or a them
was.
problem?
Yeah, I think also like the medical leave thing. I don't know if I won't speak for you guys, but I think running ourselves down the way we do sometimes. I think it was also a little bit of a wake up call for like you guys too, right? Like, oh shoot, if I don't sometimes take a step back or I don't manage to stress a little better, like this could potentially happen to me because we do the same job, right?
Yes.
Like this might not be healthy what we're doing,
Yeah.
right? So I think it also I think it was a reset for me and you to kind of take a step back at what we were doing and be like, okay, hold on, we can do this with boundaries. Like we can do this and not have to go on medical leave for a month and literally be away from our stores because that was so difficult for me to not work for a month like that.
You know what I also realized about our friendship a couple months ago, though, like probably right around that area in time, because we were talking consistently anyway. Because like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to when I was in Maryland for those 2 weeks in January. We talked every day in our like
Yes.
group chat, but I don't think you and I started like
Yeah.
on the phone and like me texting you about things until like a couple months later. But I also think it created this like conversation because I'm such a positive person.
Yeah.
Like negative energy drains the fuck
Devil.
out of me. Like I can't like if somebody starts my day with negative energy, I'm like I can't
Be gone, peasant.
Yeah, I can't talk to you. Like I can't do it. I need space from people who start my day with negative energy. And I think we had a conversation about that, or like you were like, yeah, you were in oh, I know what it was. You were in a tough situation, and we just happened to be talking about it. And I was like, well, you need like positivity. Like you got to start this, and then you were like, yeah, like that's
romantically or about work or can't remember what it was about.
it.
Oh, okay.
I don't I'm sorry, guys. But off this, I'll tell you.
Okay.
But you were in this situation, and I think you just needed to get it off your chest.
Yeah.
And you just like you told me, and I was like, oh, well, here, and like because I wasn't in that situation, I
There was
offered
no
like
negativity around it.
there was just like a different perspective. And we sat
clicked for me.
Yes, and we sat for like I want to say it was like almost an hour and a half talking about this specific situation. And it was like, oh, okay, like you left with so much clarity that like from there it was just kind of like
yeah, on the up.
yes.
Well, it's
And then I realized like, oh, different parts in that relationship era, but like you were like, oh, okay, I can trust her with
Oh
things.
yeah, 1,000%.
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, we can have these conversations. So then it just created more of them.
I also think with me and you, there's like not ever a fear of like how that person's gonna feel or think or react. Like we just kind of like say shit that's on our mind, and I'm like, again, like if you get offended, then like you get offended,
You
and
get
like
offended.
you're like, bitch, that's offensive to me, and I'm like,
Like,
oh, sorry,
yeah,
my bad.
I'm
And we're
actually
like,
offended.
yeah, we like let it go, and we like roll it off our chest, and we're
It's
just like,
not that
okay,
deep.
cool, whatever. Yeah, it's just not that serious. It's just not that deep
I'm
with
sorry.
us.
Yeah, we're friends.
We're true friends. Yeah.
We're gonna get offended. We're
Yeah.
gonna get annoyed with each other.
Especially
we're
because
gonna
we're
be
so
like,
different.
yeah, we're gonna be like, I'm sorry.
Did
ew.
you just say that? Ew. Literally,
Like,
ew.
Gross.
Like, do you want to try again?
Like,
Ew.
let's do this again.
Yeah,
but like,
1000%.
we're friends.
Yeah.
If that's gonna be the thing that ends our friendship, if we're not adult enough,
Then that's so silly. We
that's
can't talk through things, and
fucking
that's so
retarded.
silly. Or
that's stupid.
yeah. No, I agree. I think for me, where I feel like we got deeper in our friendship was like when we went out for my birthday. And we were out, and you were like holding on to that like secret. I don't know if you remember the secret.
Oh yes.
And
when
you
I was
got
like,
a little tipsy, and you like grabbed me by the shoulders.
Yes.
And you had also met like we could go into dating after this, and we were having a conversation about that. And then you looked at me, and you were like, speaking of, and grabbed me on the shoulders, and you were like,
I don't remember the secret I was holding.
I need to tell you something because you're my mirror.
Yes.
And I started laughing because I'm like, what does she mean I'm her mirror? And when she told me the thing, I was like, oh, this is what she means by I'm her mirror, because she was holding it back for me because she knew I was going to tell her that she deserved better.
Yes.
And that she was like cutting herself short on something.
Yes.
And then I gave you the pep talk of your life, and then you really like
did. That was
changed a
the
lot
best
of
pep
yeah.
talk. I literally woke up the next
You
morning
like cut
and just
people
like
out of your life, literally. I
burned
was like,
everything
wow. I was like,
Poor
Kristen, I didn't mean to do that. That was not my intention. I just think
You
that
did.
the people in your life are like kind of walking all over you right now, and
What a
like that's
wild-
fucked up.
You're right, because
Yeah, that was
I
crazy.
did. We did it for her birthday.
I think that was
we
was
went
very
out. We
change-driven.
we got drunk. I was like, there was something I'm not lying. I was just
You're
omitting.
withholding.
I was withholding
Yes.
information from her
because
on purpose.
because you knew what I was
Yes.
going to say about
and I
it.
wasn't ready.
So I'm
to
sure
hear
you
it.
told other people in your life about it,
Yeah,
but
Rachel
like
knew.
yeah, but like everybody was holding it a secret from me because you knew what I was going to say about
Yes.
it. I think me and you turn towards each other when we need to finally face the truth about
Yes.
shit. And I think that's really special in friends because I think it's really easy for us to tiptoe around each other and not go into those things.
Yeah.
But I always just feel like a true friend, it's different, right? And
you know me, I'm so honest. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm withholding, like, I'm lying. I'm going to tell you, I withheld it because
I didn't want
want
you
to know the truth.
I didn't want you to tell me what you're telling me
I didn't want you
right
to tell
now.
me what I know
Yeah.
you're going to tell me.
But I think after that, and then the morning after, and you're like burned bridges, and I was like, oh shit, I guess she really does value my opinion on
I
things. Like,
did.
obviously, I hit a nerve on that one, and I was like, okay, she's a cool girl. Like,
oh my God,
we
it
can
was so
we
funny.
can do this together. Yeah, no, that's
She did.
hysterical.
She was like wasted on this drive home too. Like I was
Which
the
is
sober
rare for
one,
me.
and I was like, I'm like
Oh,
driving
the
her
only
home,
times
and
you
she
see
was
me drunk.
giving me like, I'm so sad you can't remember it. It was so
Me
good.
too. You should have recorded it.
It was like the best pep talk. She is like sloshed in my passenger seat. Like, you are a queen. You deserve better. Like, these people don't even value you. It shows in the way they did this. You know that, and I know you know that, and you are a star in the sky, and the rainbow, and the clouds. And it was like so good and uplifting, and it was this entire 20-minute drive home. And I'm just sitting there driving like,
But because I believe that.
fuck, like, and you said you
That
did.
came
You
from
said
such
it
a
with
genuine
such
place, which is
conviction.
why it came out while I was drunk, because it didn't matter, because I was speaking truly from the
Oh
heart
my
on that
God,
one.
it was so good. And then I watched her stumble and struggle to get into her own house, and like not even realize it was her own house for a second. But like it didn't take away from the great things she said.
Yeah.
But like literally the next morning, she's coming out of the dead, and she's like texted me, and I was like, well, listen to what I did today. And she was like,
Oh,
oh no,
shit.
what did I say? What did I say?
As I'm like violently hungover in my bed till 7 p.m.
Violently
It
hungover.
was not good. Yeah,
I woke up and burned every bridge to the ground, and you were like dying.
it was kind of iconic though.
It
Like
was.
that was such an iconic Kristen moment, because you know what's so funny? You've remedied like all of those friendships, which I knew you would have, but
I
like
did.
I think in that moment you needed to like take your power back. I think I'm also, because we're such close friends and because we're such true friends, I think I have I get very protective over you, right? Like
Yes.
how many of the things that happen to you do I get mad about, and I'm probably more mad about them than you are, because I'm like, well, that's wrong. Like, you're taking advantage of her. You're taking advantage of her HSP, her niceness, like, all of these things. Her inability to, like, tell you no sometimes, right? And I know you do it out of the goodness of your heart, but I also know that it does catch up to you eventually. So I also feel like I'm just very protective of you. And at the time, the things that you were going through with the people who you were telling me were the most important people and the closest to you in your life and loved you the most, I was like, but Kristen, I love you so much and I would never treat you like this.
Yeah.
I'm also, I think last year also, I'm very big, like it taught me, like I'm very big on like actions speak louder than words, and you, I feel like, taught me that too. Like, people will do what they mean.
Yes.
And they will say
Their
things that they don't
actions will
mean.
tell you how they
Yeah.
feel.
I think at that
whether
moment,
words are lying.
1,000%. I think in that moment, the actions of those peoples were speaking a very different story than what you were
and
telling me.
I just wanted so badly to believe the words.
Which is okay. Like, sometimes we need to believe the words, but not if the actions don't match them. And I think in that moment, I just was like, I feel like they're being kind of shitty friends, Kristen. And I don't think
She's
you
saying it
realize
so nicely. She's sitting here like, they're being shitty friends. No, in that car, she was like, they are fucked up. We don't like them.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. And I was like, and obviously I didn't get rid of all of them.
Yeah.
But like, I remedied the situation.
Yeah, I think it was a good moment for those people too to like take a step back and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not treating my so-called friend the way I should be treating her, and that's just like, yeah, I think sometimes you need like a step back. Like if you're treating me like shit, I'd be like, bitch, step off and learn like what you're doing right now because it's not cool. Like, but
and
that's
you know
kind
me,
of
that is one thing that like I've gotten better about the last year. I've always been pretty good about it. Like if you hurt my feelings, you're gonna know you hurt my feelings.
Now you're like, no, I'll cut you off.
I don't really waste time anymore.
We're not gonna let it build up anymore. I think we've both done that. I think we both found our like footing on like, okay, well, if you're just.
That's why I wish you'd met Tyler this weekend.
I know, I'm sorry.
You guys share that. Like, she'll like, if I hate someone and I tell her what they did to me, she hates them now too.
Yeah.
But like, if I forgive them,
she's like, okay, cool, we're cool. Oh, I like that. Ooh, hold a grudge forever.
She's like, I mean, like, if she were to come across them, she'll be cordial.
But we don't like them.
But like, I know what you did, and she may have forgiven you,
but I
haven't.
I forgive, but I never forget. If I was a Real Housewife, my intro would be, I may forget, but I never forgive. No, the opposite way around.
Yeah, the opposite.
I may forgive, but I'll never forget. Yeah, I love those intros. I think they're so funny. But yeah, I think...
My intro would be, that sounds like a you
problem. You're mad at me? That sounds like a you problem. I love that. Oh my god, we should do... How many times do I say we should do the Real Store Managers of Buckle? That would be the best reality show ever.
And you have to follow them on their days off too, because your days off, like if you think about how many calls you get in a
day. I was like, we're not even going to talk about it.
I'm
We still have 30 minutes, so nobody
leave
us. Yeah. Nobody leave us alone.
Like, just imagine the amount of like calls these managers field in their days off, and then just like this, like even today when I was like talking to Tyler on the phone and like you were listening to the end of it, like just those like little things that you're like,
stay with us on the next day, and you're
what
like,
in God's green earth.
Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, we don't need to go into work. Work could be a whole nother. We should have Rachel on and do a work episode. That would be a lot of funny. That would be a lot of funny. That would be a lot of funny. It'd be a lot of funny, and you'd have to edit a lot of things out. But we have a fun time, the three of us at work. But what else? Oh, do you have? Oh, we do have to do these. We didn't get into dating. We didn't get into. Well, we don't need to talk about work. We can go into dating. I could be a lot more honest now than I was.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
I had to check the camera, because remember the last time when we
recorded,
the camera went off at like...
Oops. We also took a pee break, and that was on us.
Yeah, that was bad. We won't do that this time.
No pee breaks.
Okay, let's take 5 to 10 minutes and talk dating, because I am curious. I mean, I do know mostly, but like...
I feel like you get silent on your dating life, too, and I'm like,
I really have nothing going on.
I know what's going on. We just... You like to keep it secret. You like to keep it close to your chest.
I do keep it very close to the vest over here. But, well, I mean, you just saw my message. Okay,
God.
Fun fact. Okay, last season, when I ended the season on talking about that stalker, that, like, guy who is kind of low-key, kind of crazy, and I was, like, very scared of him. And I blocked him on everything. He's blocked on literally everything you could be blocked on, he's blocked on. Well, did I tell you that he tried to add me on Snap like a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
And it was like, so I post to my public story. So if you have my phone number and it's saved in your contacts, I'll probably pop up in like your public story. I popped up in his because we're in the same contacts. I didn't realize he had Snapchat, and I wouldn't have even thought to like look him up on there. So he saw my story and then thought it was a good idea to try to friend me on Snapchat.
Oh,
bruh, you should have just creeped on me, because at least I wouldn't have noticed. Like, if that's what you wanted to do, you
like,
really missed an opportunity.
Spot.
Like, you blew up your own
You're
spot.
not a very good stalker.
Because when I woke up and saw your name trying to, like, friend me, I was like, oh, hell no. And immediately put him on the block list on Snap. So now he really is blocked on literally everything I can possibly think of. But I didn't realize when you block someone's phone number on your phone, it doesn't block it on your laptop.
Yeah.
So, like, he can't get a hold of me, but his text messages that he's been sending me since being blocked are on my laptop.
Super creepy.
And when I opened it today to, like, start this up, his name popped up, and I went, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it said 2 days ago, and I was like, wait a second.
Absolutely not.
Are his message that he's sending me while blocked popping up? And so I opened it, and they were. This happened back in May.
Yeah, maybe
it was like
June,
May.
Around there, yeah.
Right at the beginning of like May, right at the beginning of June, end of May, this whole thing happened. And he got blocked. And he texted me 2 days ago.
Like, bro, give it up. You're
like,
blocked.
What?
Nobody wants to hear from you. Leave
hey,
her alone.
Kristen. What? No, fuck you.
Creeper.
You're crazy. You are insane.
I feel like you've taken a dating hiatus since then.
I have not
which
dated since
rightfully so.
I
think
not.
that you have earned the
that
right
actually
to be
scared me.
Yeah, like cautious of people, because it definitely was
I haven't even gone on the app since then.
Yeah, creepy. Definitely creepy.
I was like, you know what?
Not fun. Not a fun time for Kristen.
I'm gonna have to meet my future husband like out in the wild.
You will. You will.
I can't. That
I
scares
think you've
the
already
shit
met your
out of
future
me.
husband, but we'll story for another time.
Story for another time.
Yeah, it's all good.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But yeah, that was fucking wild.
Oh,
but I do. You're right. I do keep it close to the vest, just because there's not much going on.
I hear that. There's not much going on in my world either. I think the last time we talked, I was actually
You had
really
a lot
messy.
going on.
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
being
just
so messy.
I was super
That's
messy.
why I knew we were gonna be friends, because you do it for the plot, and I'm like,
I do it for the plot sometimes.
I do it for the plot a lot.
Yeah, and at that moment, I was doing it half for the plot and half for the loneliness that I was feeling. It was really bad. It was really bad. And I just really was not wanting to like sit and face my shit.
Yeah.
And so I was throwing myself into a lot of different things, and it was very, very messy. Because we like started talking about it, and then we were talking about timelines of things, and I was like, oh no, like
I know, when I was like, well, what
yikes.
about, wait, I thought this was.
And I was like, yep, that's...
I got inquisitive, and I asked a question because I genuinely didn't know. I wasn't trying to blow up her spot.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't know, so I was like, well, I thought, and she answered the question, and I was like,
well, that timeline doesn't track. And I was
wait
like,
a
no,
second.
it sure doesn't. I said, I was not.
that timeline is messy.
Yeah, it was super messy. But you know what?
But we weren't close enough for me to be like,
Bitch, you're messy.
you gotta get it together. You are going to blow up everybody's life.
It did take a minute, though, and I did not blow up anybody's life.
No, you did not.
So everything
You
ended
did really well
amicably.
maneuvering it.
I did, and everything ended amicably.
Yeah.
And there was not, like, big drama with anybody, and
I loved it.
I am not messy anymore, so that's really nice.
You're like low-key dating, I would call it.
I am very low-key dating. I am low-key dating, like, I'm open to the dates, but I'm, like, low-key dating one person non-exclusively. And I'm, like, open to things, but, you know, I think last time we sat and talked about the love life, I think my heart was in several different places.
It was, yeah.
And now I think my heart is just in my own chest. And I am very big with the boundaries now,
I think
right?
you also know more now than a year ago, kind of what you're looking for.
1,000%. The reason also I can't blame it 100% on myself of, like, the messiness. Like,
No.
the people I were involved with, it was also messy. And, like, I was just, like, kind of going along for the ride, and I wasn't putting my foot down or setting a boundary of, like,
a boundary
we
with one
can't,
of the
like,
situations.
this has to be either this or this. We can't live in this limbo, right? And I think... I think now, I'm just very adamant about all the situations I'm in. They can't be in limbo.
And the limbo was sending mixed signals on both ends.
Yeah, everybody was. I think everybody that I was involved with at that time was very, like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I was like, cool, well, I'll be 1 foot in, 1 out with all of it.
All 3 of you had 1 foot in together, and then all 3 of you had 1 foot.
Yeah, 1,000%. Where now I'm like, I have a foot in, but... only because I'm waiting to get that second foot in the door. Like, I'm getting there. I think this is the first time I think I've also actually, like, maturely adult dated somebody. Yeah. Like, we're non-exclusive, but we talk about feelings. Ew. Wow. You know, like, there's actually an inquisitiveness that I find endearing, right? Because I think it also, not that it reminds me of you, let's date. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm down. I'm everybody's boyfriend or girlfriend.
Amen. I feel like if we're like 60 and we're not married by then, we should just marry each other for the tax break.
Yeah. Yes, for the tax break.
Okay, cool. We made that pact on the podcast.
I saw this meme today that was like, I used to joke that I'll be forever single, but bro, I think it's actually becoming for real. And I was like,
that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. I'm also cool with that. But like for the tax break purposes, I think we should just, make it mutually beneficial. And we can just build 2 houses on a plot of land. And Tyler can come too. Like, that's fine. Like, we'll just be sister wives.
I just wish I could buy a ginormous piece of land and all my friends have houses there.
That'd be amazing. Kristen, we can do that. And we should work on that. Yeah. Yeah, I think
Call it Delulu Island.
Oh my god, yes! For the plot.
For the plot.
For the plot. I love that. We should make that happen. Yeah, no, I love that. I think you also were the one who kind of called me out on some of the messiness too. You were like, you probably need to not do some of this. And I was like, you're probably right. But
yeah, it was like a couple months later when I was like,
you probably shouldn't do this. Like, because I was going down the same roads and it was like the new year. And I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. So I basically cut off everything and I made like a very firm boundary of like, we're all going to be friends now. And that's where we're all going to live. And friends are friends.
That was right before you're back. That was in April because it was my year. March or April because it was my year. And that was when you came for my year. And we went to dinner afterwards. And we were sitting at that Mexican restaurant. I was like, Girl.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to give it to you straight.
And so telling of how I hold my stress too, because I was telling my therapist yesterday, I'm sick right now, and I think I've been confronting a lot of the negative things in my life recently, whether it be work, whether it be personal, whether it be whatever, and I think that me being sick is my body's way of releasing what I've been holding. So it's always funny to see that, because truly the last of the messiness was like end of March, like early April, and then a month later, I felt like I was on a good path, and then a month later, I was on medical leave and I couldn't move. So it was like really bad. So it's just so interesting to see that now. And then I've also just really, I feel like I used the closing of those chapters of the messiness to like launch into something that is very different for me, right? I think the timeline of dating now for me, right? Like the way I'm dating now is like very, very, very slow, and that's not something I'm used to because I am a codependent girly. So for me, it's very easy for me to overthink and be like, oh my god, you're gonna forget about me, or like you don't think about me, or there's not enough time for me, right? But it's also forced me to learn how to communicate what I need from somebody while also learning what I need from somebody. Yeah. And I think it's nice because we've had more open, honest conversations being non-exclusive and early in this that I feel like I wouldn't have had until I was like involved, a little bit more with somebody. Yeah. But it's almost nicer now because we're like, well, we're learning about each other. Like, This is the first time I think I'm probably adult dating someone, getting to know them, sharing my feelings, sharing my insecurities, sharing my concern. And I think it's been nice to feel the wall that I definitely had up previously. Yep. I feel like I'm slowly feeling that wall come down a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah, I think also before, I don't know if I was dating, I think before I was dating to not be alone.
Yes.
I think now I'm dating for something serious. I think now I'm dating for something more intentional that I wasn't dating for before. But oh my god, dating is so hard. Dating is such a reflection of the shit that you have not worked on.
It
Because
really
everything
is.
that comes up with this man, I'm like, he'll listen. We'll talk through it, and I'm like, oh my god, this isn't a you thing, it's a me thing. I'm like, this is so annoying. And then I have to go do my own work, and I have to go to therapy, and like, this is how I was feeling about this, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but now I am because he said some shit, and it rubbed me the wrong way. I am crazy, but you know what? I'm consciously crazy, and I'm working on it.
You are a self-aware crazy queen.
I am a self-aware crazy queen.
It's okay, me
Yes.
too.
That's why we vibe so well.
My thing, I don't get codependent, I just fall in love easily.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, I do. I fall in love so easily. I fall fast, I fall hard.
That's just who you are.
And, like, I've
like
never
that's
really
genuinely
thought
who you are.
about it. Like, I used to be like, no, I don't. But now I just kind of
Yes,
own
you
it.
do.
Yes, I do.
1000%
I fall
you do.
fast. I fall hard. Like, I love with everything I have. And I don't think it's a problem. But now I try not to, like, get too involved unless I, like...
Well, most people can't match that.
Yeah, like, if you... And you don't
Especially
necessarily...
the
Yeah, I was
men
about to
you
be
are
like, you
involved
don't match
with.
it. But, like, it's actually okay if you don't match it. Because that's not how most people are.
Yeah.
But, like... I have to be more intentional with my feelings to not get them hurt because that is a me problem.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, if I know that about myself, I have to move with such intentionality
I agree.
to prevent that from, not even prevent it from happening, but to prevent just like uncomfortable situations from arising.
And like peace in your life too,
Yeah.
right? I think if we can assess where we both were last October. We both were a little chaotic. We both were a little messy. We both were a little for the plot, right? And now we do live for the plot. Yeah, you definitely were. Now we're both doing it for the plot, but there is
what was I
like
doing last October?
there's like a peace of mind and like there's a calmness in both of our lives now that did not exist last year.
Yeah, there really is.
While we still live for the plot, yes, we will always do it for that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a piece in both of our lives that have created like a nice flow for us,
Yes.
which is why we're
You're
not
right.
crazy.
We are much calmer.
We are
now.
crazy, but we're not.
And I
crazy.
do believe that is a direct result of our friendship.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a constant. It's like the one constant thing in my life.
Yeah. Through all
Besides,
the
like
shit.
our families, yes.
Totally.
But friendship-wise, I think you're probably like one of the most consistent friends I have. It also helps that we're both single and adults, and like we do the same job, so like we have no other responsibilities, which is super nice. So like we can literally hang out whenever the fuck, and we live 5 minutes down the road.
And we
from each
live
other.
right around. Like,
So like it's
right over.
it's super easy, it's super convenient. But I think even when I lived in Clarksville, we were making the effort to see each other too. So I'm just glad I'm back.
Hey.
It's so nice.
I
to
was
be
so
back.
excited when you were coming back.
Yeah, it was long overdue. Clarksville was a rough year for me.
Yeah.
But you know what it taught me? You have to. I just watched Harry Potter. Yeah, so me and the non-exclusive dating, we're trying to work our ways through the Harry Potters.
Is this your first?
No, God, no. His,
Oh.
yes. Like, how are you an adult? You right? Isn't
What?
that crazy? Right? I
You know
it's
what?
crazy.
I can't even go down this.
I know. I already had the rant. I already ranted to him.
Okay.
But so we watched the second one, and when the Phoenix like burns up into ashes, right? And Dumbledore's talking about how, you know, the Phoenix. I was waiting for it because he knows he knew he needed to die, and then they rise from the ashes and they're reborn, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like last year, I think for both of us was really like a death of previous us that was not working for us, and within those ashes we've kind of been like reborn, and like we're living a life that is more authentic to both of us, makes more sense for both of us. And of course it does not go without the stress or the moments where it's really bad, but I think we moved through our lows a little bit better, me and you.
Well, if you think about it, last year we walked into, like, we kind of met each other. We were both going through a breakup at the same time, actually.
Oh, God, yeah, we were.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
We were going through a breakup at the same time.
Yep.
You started making questionable decisions. I definitely started making questionable decisions.
Do it for the plot.
And it was like in October when we sat down to do this, it was more or less like,
Damn.
like, fuck. Like, it was like funny but eye-opening because what the actual fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
And it was just so funny the way in which we moved. Like, I handled that breakup better than I've handled any breakup in my life thus far, easily.
1,000%.
Because, like, I didn't really, like, previously, I mean, call my ex-boyfriends and confirm, but crazy.
A little crazy?
How crazy. But this one, I was just kind of like, I kind of knew it was coming. It felt right to break up, but it still hurt because we were together for so long. And, like, I really did at one point in that relationship think, like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, at some point in that relationship.
This is as good as it gets.
Like, we were living together, so it was like, we broke up and still had to live together for 2 months.
This is giving pump rules.
Yeah, so it was like, you and I became friends around the time I was finally moving out.
Yeah.
But it had been so tumultuous, and, like, it might not have looked like it from the outside looking in, because we weren't fighting.
No.
We weren't, like,
but you're so disconnected. It was so over. It was so sad. Yeah.
From, like, myself, from, like,
friends.
Yeah. Like, I just felt so disconnected from life.
You knew something wasn't right.
Stunted.
Yeah.
Like, what? I was sad the relationship ended, because as a person, he's really nice.
Yeah.
And now it feels weird to be friends.
Yeah.
So, like, unfortunate, because I think you're actually a pretty cool person. But I was also, like, disconnected, like, okay, so I was 31.
Yeah.
And I'm going through this breakup. And
like,
I was
wait,
going,
what's next?
Yeah,
like, what do I do now?
What now? Like, what do I do now? Like, I thought I was going to marry this person. Oh, I have to date again. I'm 31. Like, my friends are getting married. My friends are having kids.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah. It's a hard pill to swallow.
And I was just like, and I think I just went on autopilot.
Yeah. Probably for a while.
And was just like, whatever.
Questionable decisions.
Questionable decisions.
Do it for the plot.
Now I do it for the plot for fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do it for the plot with intentionality.
Yeah. I do it intentionally for the plot.
Yeah, like
oh, this
before I did it for the plot and was just like,
I'm gonna be destructive. Woo!
Now I'm just like, no, I know what I'm doing, and I'm doing it
I'm gonna
for
see
the
how
plot
this plays
because
out.
I'm genuinely curious how this particular decision is going to play out.
1,000%. I love that.
Like
for you.
MGK night. I did it for the plot.
I know you did, and we suffered. Actually, no, it was really fun, but I was really hungover the next day. I don't know how either of you went to work. You're both crazy, but I rotted in bed all day, so that was totally fine. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I feel like I'm still recovering.
And back around to MGK.
And back around to MGK. Finishing with the,
you know what?
Finishing
Great
with the
time
sweatshirts.
to segue into Psychopath or Delicious. I'm glad
this.
now
I hate
you
that
know.
you do this.
Now you know what it actually is, because when we first recorded this last week, she thought I was going to make her try these things.
Ugh.
And I'm like, no, we just talk about them.
I would not have tried them, just so you know.
It's so fun. Well, some of them don't sound terrible.
No, they're
like,
all terrible.
Let's see here. First and foremost, up first is the popcorn and the marshmallow. And the way it was described online is like, I don't know, Orville Redenbacher's popcorn and like marshmallow fluff. Yeah.
I feel like that would be fine. Your teeth would just hate you. I feel like it would probably taste good. Like, listen, I'd be putting Bunch of Crunch in my popcorn when I go to the movies.
That sounds good.
But
I love Bunch of Crunch.
But like, marshmallow fluff and popcorn, that just feels like a dentist is gonna love you after that.
It's almost like Rice Krispies but with popcorn.
Essentially is what it is. Yeah, 1,000%. Yes.
Interesting.
So probably not that bad. Delicious.
I actually think it would be delicious.
Delicious.
I might try that one just to try it. This other one is bananas dipped in mayo.
Absolutely
like
not.
You take a banana, you dip it in the mayo. I'll never do that, but
that makes me want to throw up thinking about it. No.
I like bananas.
Me too.
I don't like mayo.
I like bananas and I like mayo, but I would never eat them together. That's disgusting.
I put mayo on my sandwich because I feel like you have to, but I like.
You don't like it? That's funny.
Not even that I don't like. I
just
just like it's
very
very
that you can
light.
put on your sandwich. That would be better than mayo. Then, like, what about mustard? Oh, you don't like mustard either.
I don't like mustard enough to not even put it on my sandwich.
Okay.
Mayo, I don't like hate, and I think it adds something to my sandwich.
Yeah.
I just don't put a lot on there.
It's very interesting.
Like, you will never catch me being like, oh, I love mayo, put it on my sandwich.
Listen, I'm like a whole, like, tablespoon, like, let it drip. I love it. It's so good. Yeah. But bananas, absolutely not. I would never even touch a banana to mayo. That's super
I
gross.
think it's disgusting. Yeah, so I'm saying
Psychopath. 100%.
Strawberries. So a strawberry dipped into sour cream and then dipped into brown sugar and then eaten almost like a chocolate covered strawberry.
I think personally, psychopath because I wouldn't try it, but it probably does taste pretty good.
You think?
With brown sugar, yeah. I think sour cream.
It's the sour cream that's
sour
fun.
cream is one of those though that's like it's probably in a lot of desserts that you don't even realize. And
I don't want to know.
I know. I think that's the thing. Like if someone handed this to me and was like, "Here, try this," and I was like, "Okay, sure." Like didn't know what it was. I think I'd be able to like give it a honest like
you can't tell me
review.
what it is.
But I don't think if I saw someone dip a strawberry into sour cream and then into brown sugar, I'd be like, "You're a psychopath.
That's
I'm not eating that."
psychopath.
Yeah, so I'm going psychopath on that one too.
Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, if I know it, you're right. There probably is sour cream in desserts that I just don't know about, but
There
I can't.
definitely is.
I can't know it, or I'll never be able to eat it again.
You know, gross.
Yeah,
Psychopath.
I'm going psychopath. And the last one is chocolate and bell peppers.
Immediately no.
You
I
think?
hate bell peppers.
I love bell peppers.
I don't like bell peppers. Chocolate? I just don't feel like those are too.
I feel like they like a nice sweet and spicy mix. Not even spicy, because bell peppers are not spicy. So like, I would have to try it. I would have to. I could
Psychopath.
try it.
That's gross.
I could probably try it. I could see it being delicious.
I mean, I think chocolate's fantastic, so I just don't know why you would ruin it with bell peppers.
But they didn't like give me like most of these when I find them online. They give me a description and a picture of kind of what it looks like, so I know. But this one didn't give me like, okay, is it the bell peppers? You know how people use bell peppers with like ranch as
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
veggie tray?
Yeah.
But is it like you take bell peppers and
think
you
so.
dip it into melted chocolate?
Yeah.
Or like the picture just had a chocolate bar and bell peppers. Is it like
You
you
eat them at the same time.
At the same time.
I would say like dipped would be like how
Gotta
they're
be,
trying
right?
to do that. Yeah. Yeah, dipped. But I'm going
I could see
psychopath
that
on
being
that one
okay.
too.
I could see that being delicious.
Don't try any of these. They all sound disgusting.
I have to let the people vote.
Ew.
I know.
I hope
Please
they
pick one that is not.
I hope they
you
pick
get
the bananas and
strawberries.
mayo.
Oh my god! Don't pick the strawberries and don't pick
pick
the
the
bananas.
bananas and mayo. Make her
If they do
it.
that, I would.
Make her do it. Make her do it.
Although that what was it? The banana and cheese quesadilla that they made me eat.
Ew.
last
Why
time.
bananas?
It was actually pretty good.
Ew.
It's a lot of. So there are a lot of like when I looked them up, it's a lot of like peanut butter, a lot of bananas, a lot of pickles.
Bananas just shouldn't go.
And I can't
You
eat
can't
those,
eat the pickle
so
ones. Yeah. That's a
I usually
no-go.
just leave them off.
Yeah, that's smart. We don't need you to have an allergic
'Cause, like,
reaction. You don't need you
I
to
can't-
die
I
for the
can't do
plot.
that.
You don't
I'm
need to
not
die
gonna
for the
do-
plot.
I will not die for the plot.
We're dedicated, but not that dedicated.
Not that dedicated. Oh Lord. I guess I have to get you off to work. I'm staring at the clock. It's 12:27.
Yeah, we did this on purpose, so
No,
that we would have to wrap.
We
So
would
that
have to wrap.
yeah, so we couldn't talk for 4
Well,
hours.
You know what?
So we
Now
kept
that
it
we're
to
at
a
the
smooth
end,
hour and 22 minutes.
that's actually pretty good. I probably won't have to cut any of this. So, one last thing before you go. What is your biggest advice for people struggling in their friendships right now?
Do your personal work first. Learn how to be okay in the discomfort of feeling your feelings and sharing those. I think I think the way you show up for me and the way you like call me out on things essentially, right? Or the way you make me think about things a little bit deeper. I had to get really okay really quickly with like, oh man, she just asked me that question. It really stirred up a lot of shit in me. Like, what is that shit, right? And now let's talk about it because I knew you would be a safe space. But I think when we first started being friends, like, I probably didn't feel that way, right? So it was like, okay, well, let me avoid it or let me change the subject. So I think, like, I had to do a lot of personal work to be able to meet you where you were at, right? And I think had I not been able to do that, you would have backed off a little bit, but I don't think we would have been as close of a friend as we are. So I would say do the personal work to feel okay with your own feelings, because when you are okay feeling your own feelings, when you tell them to a friend, regardless of the reaction, it won't matter because you're like, well, I'm good with it. So, like, it'll always
You're
be
okay
fine.
with it.
If you're okay, everything will always be fine. That's my
Perfect.
do the inner work, folks.
Do the inner work.
Do the work. Go to therapy. Do
But like
things.
actually, go to therapy.
Yeah.
Just
Highly recommend.
Thank
I think
you.
it's life changing. Thank you. I love you. This was so much
This is
fun. Yeah, I'm glad we put a cutoff on this because we could
Yeah.
talk for another 4
I
hours,
know.
but like I have to go to work and you have to enjoy your day off.
So, as always, guys, I love you and I'm rooting for you.